My name is Jesus, and I'm here with these two gentlemen with a special discussion. Before we start, let's see who they are.
My name is Nashon. I'm from Kenya. I'm a sports journalist and content creator with Site Chat with Nashon. Feel so happy to be here for the second time.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yep, and my name is Josh. I'm a freelance artist based in Korea, and I'm happy to be here.
Welcome back, Josh.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think these times I saw the start of the 17th editions of Europe.
Yeah.
And then when I first glanced with the team members of each country, like, whoa, is it AFCON?
It kind of looks like a mini AFCON.
Yeah. And then it reminds me of when there was a World Cup. I saw the meme from Korean communities about like France, team of France, and there are more black than white. So like, what's going on in France?
Yeah. It's always, I know the meme you're talking about. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Some were calling it like All Africa United.
Exactly. So which was quite interesting.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Right.
Yeah. And then I think someone would argue that because the players, they are actually born in Europe. So like, do you think there is some obligations for them to represent as Africans?
I don't think there should be like an obligation like you must play in Africa.
No, Mbappe should play for Cameroon.
Oh really? I think that would be interesting to watch.
This is coming.
Anyway, go ahead.
This will be interesting. I mean, to see Mbappe in Cameroon colors, I think they shouldn't be like a must.
Yeah.
Because you also have to look at the reason why they are playing for those, so for those countries, because sometimes the parents went there looking for greener pastures, and some of them went there because of for political asylum. So to say that you must go back to Africa, it's sort of like not good,
Well, I feel like
As an African.
I feel like there's a part of us that is always attached to motherland. Option A should always be to represent the African countries, because we are talking about what it takes to grow the African football leagues. That may require some of these players who developed under really good football systems in Europe to also consider playing for the continent. It can give a little bit of a boost to the infrastructure of football in Africa.
So what about some issues with mismanagement of African Football Federation and associations?
Yeah, you can say that there has been some issues with management in a number of African federations, and I think that plays a role in some of these players deciding to represent European countries. Maybe you want to give us some examples?
The issue of corruption. I just took a breath because it's
Which one do you want to talk about?
I'm like scrolling. So which one anyway? But I think the issue of mismanagement is such a big thing in African football, and not only in African football, but even in FIFA itself.
Right.
Because a couple of years back, we had this scandal with the FIFA president, Sepp Blatter.
Sepp Blatter.
There was a big scandal, and it touched on Sepp Blatter himself, and even it touched on some of the people in the board of FIFA. So the issue of corruption in football, it's something that goes way up. But then when you bring it down to the African continent, it's something that is, I think I would say, like it's one of the biggest hindrances to development of African football. Corruption affects the talent identification process, because if you're looking even in terms of the selection of players to play, you'll find that there are players who are good, but they're dropped because the player that has been selected probably is
knows someone, knows the boss of the federation.
Exactly. So the top players are left behind. From the talent, then generally from the infrastructure. The thing is, FIFA has this way of disbursing money to each and every member federation.
Every federation
is given money. But I'll give you a very good example. If you're looking at what a country, say like Rwanda, has been able to do with the FIFA forward money that was given. Probably I'll give
what Kenya
an example. What Kenya has done with that amount, same of money, it's quite different. And that has really affected the state of football. You know, just like I think like 2 weeks ago we had like World Cup qualifiers games happening.
All right, and Kenya had to play in Malawi.
Kenya had to play in Malawi
because our stadiums are not well managed.
Exactly.
Players of African descent based in Europe, they're also seeing these things happening, and maybe they say to themselves, "No, man, we'd rather stay here." You know?
And you know, for players, a year is such a long time for a player.
Yeah.
1 year. 1 year can make a difference. You know, if, for example, you have a player who's 26 years old and you have a player who's 28 years old, that player does not have 5 years to let the country develop. Because your value decreases as the years go by.
As you get older.
Unless you're the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, you're the likes of
the dying breed, you know,
which is very rare. So if you see that mismanagement and it's going on, say for example, if that person has been elected for 10 years, you can't wait for 10 years.
You cannot deal with that drama for 10 years.
So it's much more easier to say, okay, let me just play for it.
I think this is just a part of it, but it's represent all this mismanagement of some countries.
All the sectors.
Yeah. So I want to mention about Kobe Mainu.
Kobe.
Yeah, who recently he joined the England national football team this year. Yeah, and then his market value went so high.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and then let's say if he is playing for Ghana, is he going to get the same
market value?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What do you think?
He just want to know it in a simple way.
Yeah.
If he played for Ghana.
Yeah, let's say.
Okay, long story short. Long story short, I don't think you'll have had that same value that he has right now.
Right now.
There are so many disadvantages if you would have been from Ghana. Number one, the league, the ranking of the league. You know, the English Premier League.
Yeah, currently the most expensive.
You know, the highest ranked league. So even the fact that he's playing from there and he's come through the academy all through that gives a lot of value for him. You know.
Yeah, I think I feel the same way, and partly because of the ranking, because England is, I think, currently ranked among the top 10. It affects the market value of a player.
Yeah.
That's true.
I think it has an impact on some of these players' choice to associate themselves with European teams, because most of the European countries are doing well in FIFA rankings, so it's good for their market. Wait. Something I want to get off my chest. I advocate for these players to come back to Africa because when these players play for African countries, they get to play for a very long time compared to when they choose to play for European countries. We have examples, but we had a player like Edin Ketia, Tammy Abraham. They were playing for England for a period of time, but it was very short. So my concern why I'd like most of these players to come back home is because Africa offers them a long career in terms of international football. You can represent your country for a very long time.
But it's just like a clarion call to the people who are holding sports positions in African
back home
countries. Yeah, like you have to get your act together. Yeah, you just have to build the structures for these players so that you don't have to make it so hard for them to decide if
make
they
it
want
easy.
to. You know, as we were talking about earlier, like if you want to go back and play for Africa, there's like a checklist. Do they have lights in the stadium? Good players only just want to play. They don't want to focus on
they don't want to
politics,
be on the
side
politics.
shows, anything happening. They just want to get to the field and play. So imagine if they show up in the field and half of the pitch is not even working, you know. You go and then if it's an evening game, there are no lights. Now you have to take out your phones and look for the
Oh my God.
The showers are not working.
Exactly, you know. So I think it's just like a clarion call and a challenge to, you know, people who are holding sports positions in Africa. Like, get your act together. We know the money is there because we've seen what it is doing in other countries. You know, the allocation might be a little bit different based on where the country is, but the reality is we know there is money. It's not that there's no money.
There's money in
There's
football.
money. Just manage it well and don't make it so hard for the people.
I saw the videos of Bukayo Saka. He visits Nigeria, and then like I saw how Nigerians fans are welcoming him, even though he's England player. And then I also saw some of the videos. He tried to eat UK food and Nigerian food, and in the comment sections, people really enjoying watching him eating Nigerian food and like it. So what do you guys think about this?
Looking at somebody like Saka, even in terms of how he plays, I mean, he's a brilliant player.
Arsenal guys shouldn't talk about Saka, by the way.
It's
going.
my time to shine.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you are a football fan, then it's hard not to love Bukayo Saka.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's the way he made people still love. People love. Bukayo Saka. Yeah.
Maybe as sharing the same root.
Yeah, I think that connects to what I was gonna say as well, because I think people see him as not just being someone with roots in Nigeria representing England, but as someone who, even though he plays for England, there's a part of him that carries the Nigerian flag.
Yeah.
Partially an ambassador of Nigeria. So the love that they show to him when he goes back to Lagos and he's walking in the street and people want to take selfies with him. I think they just want to kind of show him, you know, be thankful to him for flying Nigerian flags.
I think African descendants who are playing for European team, they also always have this dual identity or harsh discipline on them. So in the case of Bukayo Saka for the last Euro, and then he missed the penalty, and then the way he got abused, like
people writing him
racially,
comments.
like go back to Nigeria, that was so harsh. And then that was turned out when you do good for their team, you are in part of the European team, but you did if you make a mistake, you are African out of the European team. So
that's so true.
yeah, and I think that reminds me some feelings of players are just being exploited.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, in a way. So what do you guys think?
I think as we started, you know, I'm a Bukayo Saka fan, you know.
Arsenal fan, okay. Anyway, if he comes to Man U, are you gonna support him?
No.
No, you see. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, but the issue of racism is still a big issue in the English Premier League. You know, some countries have been able to manage it, but I think it's so sad, and we shouldn't be having things like this happening.
Yeah,
you
in
know.
2024, bro.
Yeah, in 2024, you know, we've come from a long way.
Yeah.
And I feel like as long as they put on your colors, that basically means they're part of
the
you.
part of you. It was
You
a
know.
choice they made.
Yeah.
You know, like she talked about the last edition of the Euro, and I was really leaning on England a lot, even in the final game.
Yeah.
But then the tragedy happens. We have these 3 black players missing. You know what's gonna happen.
They all blame for that.
Yeah, there was a lot of negative comments. I'm not saying like in a blanket, like all English fans were attacking them, but there was a sizable chunk
Who are
of-
blaming them
who are
for the
blaming
loss.
them.
Yeah.
And some of them, like you said, were people like Saka. They were telling him, you know what, you're Nigerian, and you fucked up. You know, oh, were we supposed to? Sorry. Yeah, so that kind of reveals the hypocrisy.
So I think I learned a lot while I listened to your talking and the discussions, and then I have the last questions.
Yeah.
I'm also curious if you are supporting any teams in this Euro. Which team are you in?
I think for me, I'm supporting France this time round.
France.
Yeah, I'm supporting France because, I mean, they lost the World Cup. So I think winning this Euro will be like a consolation for them. I mean, N'Golo Kante.
N'Golo Kante is back, the most lovable player in the planet. Anyway,
What about
me, I've always been a French supporter, but he's supporting France, and I hate to sit in the same zone with him. I think this time I just want to wait until they get to the semis. And so far, I think I'll be watching out for Portugal. Yeah, let's see how far they can go.
Okay. So, guys, if you have any comments or thoughts, please leave the comment section.
Yes.
Down here.
Yeah.
Jesus shoes.
And take care until that time.
Yeah. See you. It was fun. Bye-bye. Anyway, camera needs to rest.
That was a good one.